林姓女相亲要108万彩礼。
It was rumored that a girl named Lin Yu had gone on over 100 blind dates without success because she demanded a bride price of 1.08 million renminbi, about 150,000 US dollars. Someone asked her directly, "Is it true? You've been on more than 100 blind dates and none worked out." She replied, "Yes, more than 100 times. But it's not my fault. It's the men. Some had no money. Some were too unattractive, some too short, and others had bad personalities. None of them were suitable." He continued, "I heard you have some very high standards?" She answered, "Not really. Just one requirement, the bride price." "How much?" 1.08 million. Isn't that the going rate nowadays? Many netizens believed it was real and angrily attacked her online. But in fact, the video was staged. Those outrageous lines were delivered with confidence, and combined with clever editing, they misled people into thinking it was genuine. I searched and found the original video. It did have a small staged disclaimer, but it was so tiny most people would miss it. The real intention wasn't comedy at all. It was to stir emotions and grab views. For the sake of traffic, people are willing to do anything, even film skits that degrade themselves. Yes, the video went viral, but the girl ended up getting harsh criticism from strangers. As for the accounts that repost such staged clips to farm engagement, while annoying viewers, they're not any better. So here's my reminder. Always be cautious about what you see online. Don't blindly believe, and don't spread unverified rumors.
我觉得我至少以我的条件，我至少要找 A8的家庭吧。
A confident young woman walks into a matchmaking agency to meet Ms. Yen and find her ideal husband. Ms. Yen, I've been following your videos for a while, and the candidates you introduce are always quite impressive. Thank you. So, are you here to find a match for yourself today?
Yes.
I believe the people here will be on my level. All right, could you tell me a little about yourself? I consider myself quite an outstanding person. I was born in 1994, the year of the dog, which I think is the perfect age in the marriage market, very popular with men. I'm a true native of Liqing, the old city district of Chengdu. Oh, so you're from the city center? Yes, not those other areas. For us Chengdu people, only those from Liqing are considered authentic. As for places like Fengzi or Luojiang, well, let's not talk about them. I see. And what about your family background? My parents divorced when I was young, and both have remarried. But they both adore me, especially my father. He spoiled me and invested heavily in my education. I have a bachelor's degree and currently work for state-owned enterprise. Oh, and my dad also promised to give me a house as a dowry when I get married. That's wonderful. So, what kind of person are you looking for? My standards aren't excessively high. I'm not looking for someone fabulously wealthy. Someone whose family owns about 7 or 8 properties would be fine. Surprised, 7 or 8 properties isn't considered wealthy. In my videos, I've featured men who own large factories or even 10, 20 properties.
See?
I'm not asking for that much. I'm just aiming for the middle ground with 7 or 8. Okay, any other requirements? For instance, age. I'm quite flexible with age. I can accept someone up to 10 years younger than me. That is flexible. So, 10 years older is also acceptable. Absolutely not. 2 years older is my limit. That would make him 35. That's too old. But my dear, you're 32 yourself. It's different for me. A woman in her 30s is in her prime. Look at me, I'm beautiful. So, I'm only looking for men born between 1992 and 2000.
Noted.
What about physical appearance? Naturally, he has to match me. I'm 165 centimeters tall and 170 centimeters in heels, so I think requiring a man to be over 185 centimeters is reasonable, don't you? As for his looks, I prefer the type like Wang Yiba or Zhang Lingyi. He doesn't have to be a celebrity, but he needs to have that same kind of vibe and style. Muttering, finding a guy in Chengdu born between 92 and 2000 and over 185 centimeters tall is already a challenge. That's not all. His personal capabilities are very important. They affect the next generation. I have a bachelor's degree, so he should at least have a degree from a 985 or 211 project university, China's top-tier universities, and a master's degree at minimum. And what about financial status? This is a basic requirement. Given my own qualifications, I think I should be looking for a family at the A8 level. What does A8 mean? You don't know? Stands for assets, and 8 means 8 digits, so total assets of 10 million renminbi, approximate $1.4 million USD or more. But I'm looking for a high A8, which is around 80 to 90 million RMB, approximate $11.2 to $12.6 million USD, not a low A8 of just 10 to 20 million RMB, approximate $1.4 to $2.8 million USD. Why does it have to be a high A8? Look at me, my face, my figure. It's obvious I take care of myself. I need to buy skincare, bags, shoes, and clothes. If I marry a low A8 guy, what if he gets upset after I buy just a few bags? Is that a Hermes you're carrying today? No, I wouldn't buy one for myself, but I have the right to expect that from my future partner, don't I? All right, I understand. I'll make a note of all your requirements. Let me just confirm. You were born in 94, looking for a man born between 92 and 2000, over 185 centimeters tall, with looks like Wang Yiba. His family must own at least 7 to 8 properties with a net worth in the high A8 range. And he must have at least a master's degree from a prestigious university. Exactly. Please find me several options, maybe 10 or so. I don't mind going on many dates. After all, I need to choose carefully. Of course, of course. Please fill out this form, and I'll contact you when I find a suitable match. And before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers from all around the world is a huge inspiration for us. Thank you so much.
我91年的34岁
I'm 34 years old this year, born in 1991. Since graduating from university, I've been working for foreign companies in Shanghai. When I was younger, I read too much Chicken Soup for the Soul content that glorified single life. I was always told that women shouldn't get married, that men are unreliable, and that a woman should be independent, buy her own house and her own car. Because of that, after graduation, I always prioritized my career and never really put effort into finding a relationship. Now, after a decade of work, I've bought a car and have some savings. The reason I haven't bought a house is that I've never truly had a home, so I wouldn't know where to buy one. Looking back, I feel like I was truly harmed by that toxic advice. At 34, with 10 years of work experience, while my peers have families, children, houses, and cars, I'm still drifting alone in a foreign city. Every day after work, it's just me. I don't even have a single person to talk to. What's the point of earning so much money? Therefore, I sincerely advise everyone to stop reading content that encourages women to remain single. We should do what is appropriate for our age. When it's time to get married, get married. Don't blindly pursue independence at the expense of marriage.
结果拿多了，但是我发现我对女人
I'm 37 now, and recently I realized something. I'm less and less interested in women. At first, I wondered if something was wrong with me. But then it dawned on me. It's not just about women, it's about age. Once a man passes 30, his primal desires naturally begin to decline. I feel it clearly. My physical cravings have slowly shifted into a longing for companionship and emotional connection. What I need now is understanding, not just desire. The problem is, most women expect men to constantly provide emotional value for them. And honestly, that's exhausting. Finding a woman who truly understands you, stands by you, and isn't after your money is incredibly rare. Even if you're wealthy, what you can usually buy is just physical satisfaction or superficial affection, never genuine loyalty from the heart. Even successful men face this. Jackie Chan once said he doesn't trust women, only his brothers, because he's seen colleagues leave for film shoots, only to return home and find their wives had emptied their fortunes. So in the end, what really matters isn't looks or money, but whether she is truly with you, heart and soul. Can she accept you completely, from mind to spirit? That is the rarest and most precious thing.
今年2025年，在成都的相亲市场上，男生你要是去相亲。
In 2025, on the blind date market in Chengdu, guys, if you ever hear the following lines, no matter how pretty she is, run. Run fast, don't hesitate. Stay even a second longer and you might get trapped. Here's my summary for you, brothers. The moment she sits down, she says, I'm a slow-to-warm-up type.
Run.
She says, let's see how you perform in the future. Run. She says, these are just things men should do.
Run.
She earns 5,000 renminbi, about $700, but wants a man who makes 30,000 renminbi, about $4,200 or more.
Run.
She says, we're a traditional family. Bride price starts from tens of thousands of RMB. That's at least $7,000.
Run.
She asks, did you buy your house with a mortgage or full payment? Can my name be added to the deed, or better yet, transferred to me?
Run.
She says, I only like someone who treats me really well.
Run.
She says, I value rituals and romantic gestures.
Run.
She says, I'm preparing for the civil service exam.
Run.
She says, I only have one younger brother or sister.
Run.
She expects men to provide emotional value for her.
Run.
She claims she's an independent woman who will need a lot of free time even after marriage.
Run.
Or she starts listing, preparing for grad school, planning to take the civil service exam, house hunting, planning to buy a car, loves traveling, loves food, bakes as a hobby, has tons of girlfriends, parents without pensions, bad temper, asks her mom about everything, all of these. Run. And if she says, I want a man who's ambitious, gives me security, a stable life, responsibility, romance, and a strong sense of duty, you run as well.
重庆相亲会大瓜。
Something rather awkward just happened in Chongqing, at a blind date fair. The entire venue was packed with single women, but not a single man showed up. People wondered, where did all the men go? Why don't they go on blind dates anymore? Netizens replied, blind dates nowadays are like picking dishes in a restaurant. The best ones get taken early, and what's left is just leftovers. So, why does nobody want these leftovers? They can be summed up into 5 categories. 1. Poor looks or unattractive appearance. 2. Strange or difficult personality. 3. Too old in age. 4. Already tasted before, meaning divorced or with complicated relationship history. 5. Too expensive, demands and conditions are set unrealistically high. Meanwhile, men today are under huge pressure. They're busy working hard, chasing money, with no time for blind dates. If they don't have money, dating is pointless. And those who do have money, they're even less interested in leftovers. So really, how are blind date events supposed to work under these conditions?
我是34岁未婚未育大龄剩女。
I am a 34-year-old unmarried, childless woman, what many would call a leftover woman. Today, my mother said something to me that instantly broke down all my defenses. Her words made me understand the true weight of sincerity. She asked me, do you know what the greatest form of sincerity is when you like someone? She continued, in a world of transactions, where cigarettes are traded for cigarettes and wine is traded for wine, a world full of schemes and calculated risks, the word sincerity becomes exceptionally precious and rare. Everyone is testing the waters. Everyone is being cautious. But eventually, you will meet someone who is willing to love you passionately, sincerely, and openly. Someone who isn't afraid of being let down and isn't worried that their genuine heart won't be met with another. Is that impulsive? No, it's not impulsiveness. It is courage. To love someone requires courage. All forms of love are precious, but sincerity alone stands above all else.
一些女生说自己放宽了年龄要求，为什么还是找不到对象？
Many women say, I've already lowered my age requirement, so why can't I find a partner? But the truth is, that's not really lowering your standards. Because 9 out of 10 women are willing to accept men up to 10 years older. That's just the market default, not a special compromise. When a 30-year-old woman says she's okay with a 40-year-old man, what she imagines is a successful, stable man in his 40s, not one who failed in life and spends his days gaming in an internet cafe. In other words, she's exchanging her remaining youth and fertility value for the resources that man has accumulated over more than a decade. It's an unspoken value trade, and her so-called compromise comes with very strict conditions. On the men's side, evolutionary psychology shows that males instinctively and irreversibly seek fertility signals when choosing a mate: youth, health, beauty. That's why whether they're 25, 35, or 45, men entering the dating market still prioritize women between 20 and 28. They're not seeking compatibility, but compensation, using their wealth and status to trade for the youth and fertility they've lost. When men of all ages compete in the same age bracket of women, a deadlock forms. A 32-year-old successful woman dismisses her peers as immature and turns to older, more mature men. But that accomplished 40-year-old man is chasing 25-year-olds. Meanwhile, the men her own age are also chasing 25-year-olds. The result: the 32-year-old woman is left hanging in the middle, with no place to go. Even worse, many women in their 30s remain anchored to memories of being 22 when high-quality men pursued them, even those far above their reach. That fleeting experience locked their self-perception at their past peak, so now they expect to attract men who match their 22-year-old version, even though their current reality is different. This distorted perception becomes the last straw that breaks them in the dating market. So don't comfort yourself with, "I've already lowered my standards." The marriage market is about clear prices and equal exchange. What you call a compromise may not even register as a bargaining chip in his eyes. True clarity means recognizing your actual market value today, not clinging to yesterday's expired price. Either raise your value or adjust your mindset to find someone within your value tier. Only then can you build a sustainable partnership.
今天这条视频呢，可能会得罪一些
Today's video might offend some older women who seem perfect, good-tempered, beautiful, and seemingly flawless. If the shoe fits, feel free to wear it.
Why?
Because if you're not the person I'm describing, you won't get triggered and send me angry messages. I've met my fair share of well-off young men, either from wealthy families or successful in their own right. Some of them, perhaps due to a lack of love in their upbringing, are easily drawn to older sister types, women who are gentle, understanding, and empathetic. But I've said this many times, a woman who is that gentle and understanding is usually either incredibly experienced with men or has been divorced. A young, beautiful girl who is also kind and considerate has no reason to be single past the age of 30. Of course, there are extremely rare exceptions, but they are statistical anomalies. Remember this rule: good things don't stay on the market for long. This applies to both men and women. Anyone over 30 who appears perfect but is still circulating is a major red flag you need to be cautious of. Today, let's focus on this specific type of woman. She's beautiful, has a great figure, provides emotional value, and has a respectable job or owns a small business, like a nail salon, boutique, or spa. She seems to understand men deeply, far more than immature younger girls. Yet, she is single and comes from an average or poor family background. To all the guys out there dating a woman like this, be careful. There is a very high probability, not a certainty, but a high probability, that she was previously a mistress or was a kept woman for a wealthy man for a long time. She received a significant amount of money from that arrangement. To launder her past, she used that money to open a business or find a stable job, sometimes through the connections of her former benefactor. This creates the perfect cover story for the source of her wealth. Again, don't be quick to take offense. Women who earn their money legitimately can easily prove their income sources. And this brings us to a key point. Your girlfriend has everything and is so wonderful, so how could she possibly have remained single for so long? If she were unattractive, overweight, or had a bad temper, being single would make sense. But for a woman who is seemingly perfect in every way, looks, personality, career, to be single, the situation becomes incredibly suspicious. I honestly can't think of another plausible explanation other than her being raised by a sugar daddy and now looking to land safely in a legitimate marriage. If she comes from a wealthy family, that's a different story. But if her background is modest, yet she has it all, then gentlemen, you need to ask yourselves, are you willing to be the one who marries her? If you don't care about her past, then just enjoy the present. Someone else planted the tree, and you get to enjoy the shade. Someone else has trained the perfect partner for you, so what's there to complain about? But if you are looking for a pure wife, you must be cautious. I've seen too many cases where the man later discovers his girlfriend was either divorced or had been someone's mistress for years. Let me be blunt. In this age of digital payments, every transaction is traceable. Someone with a legitimate income can prove where their money came from. My final piece of advice is this. If you don't want to break up with her, do not get curious about her past. Suppress your curiosity. Only when you are fully prepared to end the relationship should you start digging. Otherwise, when you find out the truth, you'll be trapped in a miserable dilemma, in pain, but unable to let go. As we conclude our emotional journey today, how do you feel? We've heard the voice of late regret, the arrogance of unrealistic demands, the warnings of cynicism, and the cold analysis of a dating market filled with competition. This is the multifaceted landscape of Chinese emotion, the feelings of modern Chinese people on their quest for love and happiness. All these different stories point to a shared reality. Love and marriage are increasingly being treated like a stock exchange. Everything is converted into value. Women trade their youth for stability. Men trade their assets for beauty. We are so busy calculating, pricing ourselves and others, that we become lost in a cycle of defensiveness and fear. We're afraid of being deceived, afraid of being undervalued, afraid our sacrifices won't be reciprocated. And what is the result of this transactional game? It is the profound loneliness of the successful 34-year-old woman. It's the matchmaking events attended only by women. It's the exhaustion of the man who can no longer find a soul connection. When love becomes a contract, genuine emotion becomes the ultimate luxury. But perhaps the answer isn't to become a smarter trader. It lies in the simple yet profound whisper of the mother from one of our stories, sincerity. In a world full of calculation, sincerity is the greatest form of courage. It is the courage to love someone without the fear of being betrayed, to give without demanding an equal return on your investment. Maybe it's time we stopped looking at the price tag and started looking into the heart. Time to stop searching for the perfect business partner and start searching for a true companion. Because in the end, what we truly crave is not a good deal, but a hand to hold, a shoulder to lean on, and a soul willing to walk with us through the storm. That is the only true and everlasting value. Thank you for listening.